Hi, my name is Simon, GM8NYB. I'm going to continue with my restoration of a CR100 I had given to me a few weeks ago. I thought in this video I shall show how I repack these capacitors. These are the original capacitors, 0.1 UF. They're wax and paper, and I find they've gone quite high. This one here is about 0.2 UF. Now sort of measure it here, if you can see the meter there. So that's about 0.24 UF there, instead of 0.1. Now I'm going to replace them with these modern ones that are 650 volts, 0.1, or 100 NF at 5% tolerance, so it's not too bad. So there we have 0.099 UF, so almost 0.1, 0.001 UF, which is 1 NF off, so it's within the tolerance of the new capacitors there. Now then, to open these I use a lightweight one. It's a small one, not a very heavyweight one, but it's a pipe cutter. Should not always easy, but I try and open the top. There's a little metal strip that runs from the very top to the bottom of the internal capacitor. Now if it does get cut, it doesn't really matter because you can still attach it to the case, but I prefer to try and keep that intact. I'll see if I can manage that this time. So I'll just aim this down a bit, hopefully I'll be able to see it. So I'll get this capacitor in here, try and get in the little ridge there, squared up, run it around. Ooh. See, just run it slightly tight, not too tight. It's a very, very thin aluminium case. Slight tension, there we go. So it's popped open there. Now, hard to see, you can see the little band in there. Now the middle, this bit here, you can see in there, it's full of wax. It's quite waxy, greasy. So I'll try and cut that, just the top bit, not that, so I can open it. So there you can see the inside of the waxy capacitor. This is all waxy. I use a lot of tissue paper here to get all this out. Right. The other problem is, I think this is deliberate. It's like an infill. It's like it could be a rubber. Normally I remove that. I forgot to do it on this one. I'll do it later. Let's get the middle out first. Let's get the rest of this stuff out. Not easy to get out. I've got these picks, so I try and just start getting them out. It's quite messy, quite greasy really, and there's quite a pong off these. There it comes. Try not to stick in your fingers. Oops. And a pair of pliers might help. It's all silver paper, obviously. There we go. That's come out in one piece. So you can see the old waxy. This is silver paper there. Let's cut it in half. So these are the old-fashioned capacitors. You can see the inside of a capacitor. 2 bits of silver paper with a very waxy, with a very thin insulator in the middle. Has to be thrown away right this. Try and there's a wax. There's no way around this except getting your fingers covered in grease. There it is. And that was a metal strip I wanted to try and get out. I think it's snapped in this case. It might not work. That might be enough. Okay. Right, so there it is, very greasy. Now, there's no easy way of doing this except scraping it out. Get that clean up. have some little dish here and put some ethanol in it. Let's get that soaking there. And while that's soaking, yeah, hard to see in there. Hot air gun running about 180 degrees. I just melt it out, heat it up, get all this wax soft. A bit hot to hold. And then just do a bit of tissue, put it in directly up there. Quite goofy looking. Still a bit more heat. I don't suppose you need to clean it out really, but it's not nice as a handle. Got all this wax in it. Just get a bit hot to hold in your hand though. Right, and this one will go in. Not too bad, fairly clean. Right. Just have an old toothbrush here, and I shall give that a brush up. Right. I also have this fancy thing, we call it helping hand, I don't know where it came from. But I'm going to remove all the old solder and that piece there. Heat it up first. Yeah, I don't know what I found this stuff here what they've put inside it. Underneath that there's the board, a small piece of board, looks like Paxlin. But on top it could be rubber, it's some form of plastic, and it's gone very black, and I think it conducts on some of them, so there's no harm in picking it out. Now, it might have been a hermetic seal, but I don't think it really matters when I put the new components in it. But that just softens it because it is very hard, and I find I can pick it out quite easily. Usually, there it goes, this rubbery stuff. So we should be able to get all this out. Coming out just like carbonized, whatever it is. Try and keep that intact. I've done this with a few of them so far. I made a little bag of them. So all these have been done. Same way as this, more or less. It's good to have some little picks, and these are marvellous things for cleaning circuit boards and things. That's it. Will come out. Not easy. So I'll just pause the video while I give this a good clean out in the ethanol. Right, that's, you can see it. A bit cleaner, get some light on it. Probably harder to tell. It's It's the same material as that. It looks like Paxilin or some form of the same stuff that the tag boards are made of. But it's much cleaner. Now it's a lot easier to do this before you cut the top off. On that one I jumped the gun a bit. Normally I just clean it up first and then I cut the top off. Anyway, one other thing I need to do is get all the solder off this. There's actually a hole through. Not much light there. You can see that should go all the way through. It's full of solder at the moment, so I'm going to remove that solder. The solders will go. So we put the new component in. Tricky. It's a handy little thing, this. Just prop clips on it. That thing. Right. Let's put some heat in there. Right. So there's a lot of the old bits and pieces still in it. Try and get the old bits of wire out. There we go. A fiddly sort of job, but another piece there. It's just the old bits of wire that went through there and attached to the terminal. I'll also give this terminal a clean up later with a small file. I think that's got it. So, a bit hot at the moment. Fiddly. Hard to do to a camera. Right, so this is my phone. It's not the best camera, I suppose, for doing videos. So that's basically it there. Just see the hole through the middle where the new capacitor is going to go. Right. The new capacitor, I shall solder in when I find it. It is. So basically, I just put the new capacitor in here. I was hoping that would be long. That might just be long enough. Unfortunately, this snapped off. This little strip snapped off a bit too short. I might manage. So I've been doing is using my pliers here to bend that into there. Bend it over just to tag it in. And then blob of solder on it just for now. And I like my flux, so bit of flux. It's a fiddly job, but it's much easier than it looks. I'm making it look at the moment. I'm going to try and do it with a camera, but normally I've got it under this magnifying glass here and I can see better. It's not running very well. Come on. That's just a demonstration there. Right. So, quick look under the magnifying glass. Looks quietly good. Joint out there. Now, this I thought was aluminium originally, but it actually bend that a little. Normally it's a bit longer, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to attach that to it. This earth I'm going to make a hole in the bottom and push it through the little hole in the bottom. You can see it on one of the other ones I've done, like this one here. I made a little hole, drilled a little hole in it and put the wire through and tightened it around in a little blob of solder. Now I thought about when I put them back in it may tip over, but what I'm going to do is get some little copper washers and cut a little notch out so it sits flush. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to attach that unless I bend this a little. Let's have a go. I'm earthing this side out because on one of the first capacitors I did, I found that because of that stuff I removed conducted, and this being oxidized now, oxidizes very quickly, aluminium, I think it made another capacitor, so I end up having two capacitors in parallel. As soon as I push them together, then the value went up from 0.1 to about 0.2 again. Right, that's not too bad. Right, now then, what I do now, just cut that. This is heat shrink, so I'll slide the heat shrink over it. Reduce the temperature of that, and we should be able to shrink that up. Just to keep it all together, really. So, heat shrink in there. Handy hot air gun, these things. Called the Hans Kit 8680. Probably Chinese made, but it seems to work. When you hang it back up on the hook, it automatically cools down, and you can digital readout. I'll show you in a minute. The digital readout gives you the temperature. Now, I got this on eBay. It was second hand. The guy who sold it said he only used it for one job, and for me it's been quite good. So 25 quid I think it was. It's been very good, and you can change the temperature quite high. Right, there we go. Now the boring bit. Normally you could use a Dremel for this. I don't have the Dremel set up, so what I've been doing is drilling it with a little pin vise here. I'll just drill a hole in here. So I'll pause the video. I'm sure you don't want to watch me drilling this with it. I'll start it anyway. So just start it off and just slowly turn it. It doesn't take long. It's aluminium, thin aluminium. Just so I can get. I've got a little electric Dremel type drill. By the time I set that up, I'll have this done. I'll just pause that while I do this. Well, that's it. It's a little hole drilled. Took a bit longer than I thought. This drill's getting a bit blunt. I have to get a new one. It's only a millimetre and a half. So, probably not see that. Very small hole in it. In the back, maybe if I put the drill back in. Very small hole drilled in. And should be good enough to put the wire through the back. The right way. So that's basically it. Now then, before I stick it together, I clean the surface. Two surfaces here, and I just use contact adhesive. Just contact adhesive. Small amount. I'll use a magnifying glass for this. Easier. And I just put a small blob down there. Now, I know it was aluminium joint. It actually joins quite well, this glue, once it's set. And I should pull the thing tight, so best to try and get that the best fit as possible. There, and then with the pliers, I'll take this, put it tight. Wrap it around. Hard to see on the cam. So that's the end of the capacitor wrapped around there. My eyesight, I need this magnifying glass now. Trim that off flush. Just stick that in there. And just tap that in there. So that just joins the two bits around there. So I normally leave that to set. Contact adhesive usually works. I might just run after it's set a little bit in there as I have on these. These ones I've get it out. And it looks like the same silvery. So there we go. This one did, I've just ran some glue in here. I mean, it's very tight now. Once it's set a couple of days, it really goes tight. So let's measure that. Let's see. Go back to the meter. Get out of the way. See the meter there? Flare that off it. It should be 0.1. Should be. Oops. 0.101. So we're 1 NF from 0.1. So I'm quite happy with that. I'll let that dry and go on to a few more to do, not many. I have a few other ones. Right, these two at different days. This is 1954, so I think they've been replaced. This is 25 UF at 25 volts. This is also 25 UF at 25 volts. Now I've done the same with this. I've put a new capacitor in it, small electrolytic, very small compared to the size. I've still got this one to do. So I'm putting the little small electrolytics in here, same idea, cut the top off. And then these, I'm not sure, these were already removed when I got the radio, these ones. These are 1 UF at 375 volts. So I replaced these. Now I cut that off, but as I was cutting it off, it's so thin it dented in the case. I mean, it was quite. I haven't even tried getting that out yet. So I might just. It looks like they've been soldered together, like a soldered rim on it. So I might just undo the solder and just heat it up and take it off. But I certainly got that apart with the wire cutter, with the pipe cutter, and I'll probably just melt that out and put a small capacitor in, electrolytic capacitor in it. Right, that's all for now. It's gone on a bit longer than I thought this video, but I hope it was useful, and I'll see you next time. So click like if you like, or whatever. That's what everybody else says. So bye bye for now.